Welcome back, everyone. Ready to dive into another deep dive? Today we're tackling smart stock investing, but through a really cool lens.
Yeah, we're going way beyond just like the basic tips everyone gives.
Exactly. We're digging into your research on this investor, we'll call him SG. The guy turned 30 lakhs into over a crore.
And it's not like some overnight thing.
No get-rich-quick schemes here.
This is about sustainable growth, doing it right.
Which is perfect because you've been saying how many of our listeners are at that point saved up, ready to invest.
And SG actually breaks it down. What can you realistically expect stock market versus, say, fixed deposits?
Yeah, because those headlines, double your money in a year, it's like, come on.
He doesn't sugarcoat it. SG actually shares his own annual return rate.
Ooh, putting it out there.
Gives you a real-world benchmark, which I think is super valuable.
Now, one thing that jumped out at me reading this was SG is big on reading.
Oh, yeah. He's all about digging deep.
Like investor presentations, conference call transcripts, hardcore stuff.
It does sound pretty intense.
Even for, like, finance people, that's a lot to get through.
But here's where it gets cool. He uses ChatGPT.
Wait, really? To pick stocks?
No, not for that, but to analyze all those documents.
Clever.
Because who's got time to, like, read 100 pages of a transcript?
Seriously.
So he's using it to pull out the key takeaways.
Risks, future plans, like having a super-powered research assistant.
Exactly. But SG's approach, it goes beyond just the numbers, right?
Right.
He talks about identifying what he calls inevitable sectors.
Inevitable sectors. So, like, what are the big unstoppable trends happening?
Think of it like this. These are the major currents the world is already moving in. So it's not about predicting the future. It's about understanding the present really well.
Okay, so, like, what? Give us an example of an inevitable sector.
One he's really focused on is the shift to green energy, sustainability, all that.
Makes sense. That's huge EE.
It's not a fad, right? It's only going to get bigger.
So you're saying by investing in those companies, you're riding that wave.
You're catching the wave early.
Instead of, like, when it's already crested and everyone's like, oh, we should have.
Timing is key. You want to be there at the beginning.
But how do you SBOT those future giants, you know? Because everyone's claiming to be the next big thing.
He looks for companies making big investments in specific areas.
Okay, so not just like talking the talk, but putting their money where their mouth is.
Exactly. It's that long-term vision.
Not chasing quick profits, but seeing where the world's headed and getting ahead of it.
Exactly. And he gave this great example, a company in the energy sector, actually.
Okay. So going green.
They've committed to being 100% renewable, not by like next year or even the next decade.
When?
By 2047.
Wow, that's ambitious.
Right. And it takes guts to even say that.
Because if they don't hit it,
But that's the kind of company SG looks for.
the ones willing to make that bet, knowing the payoff could be huge.
It's like they're so confident in their ability to innovate, to change with the times, that they're willing to stake their future on it.
Which for an investor, that's got to be like music to your ears.
It's a sign. They believe in what's coming.
Okay, so we're seeing the long game here.
Long game, but also SD's not just India focused.
Right, gotta have that global perspective.
He's big on tracking trends abroad, knowing they often ripple over here.
So, like, what's happening in the U.S. now could be big in India in a few years.
He gave the example of electric vehicle batteries in China.
Okay, yeah, they're ahead of the game there.
They're already moving beyond lithium-ion, investing in new tech.
So he's looking at who in India is positioned to jump on that when it arrives.
He's connecting those dots. Global trends, local opportunities.
Now that's thinking like an investor.
It's about seeing the bigger picture and how it all ties together.
But it's not all spreadsheets and charts, right? He also talked about this scuttlebutt investing.
Right, so it's like keeping your investor brain switched on even when you're not, actively researching.
It's sort of like out in the world.
He told this story about visiting a data center just out of curiosity. And as he's walking around, he's asking questions about the equipment, the generators, everything.
So he's like low-key investigating.
And he starts jotting down the company names on all this stuff.
Wait, so he's finding investment opportunities just by, like, being observant?
Turns out some of these companies were publicly listed. Huge potential in the whole data center boom.
No way. That's incredible.
It's about keeping your eyes open, even when you're not on the clock as an investor.
Turning everyday life into research? I like it.
That's just one example. He's always looking for those little clues, those hints of where the world's headed.
So it's like a constant state of awareness almost.
Exactly.
So, like, what else? What are some other ways he recommends staying ahead of the curve?
He's big on, like, constantly learning. You know, he actually hosts these weekly master classes.
Wow, seriously?
Yeah, breaks down his whole analysis process, shares market insights.
That's cool. He's giving back.
He calls it his 1% club. Like, even small improvements add up over time.
Love that, but let's be real. Not everyone can be a full-time investor,
He
right?
gets that.
Yeah.
He's actually a big fan of mutual funds, especially for people who, want a more hands-off approach.
That's good to hear. So you're not saying everyone needs to become a stock market whiz.
Exactly. But even with mutual funds, he's like, don't be blind about it.
Do your homework, understand what you're getting into.
Yeah, exactly. Informed, not just following blindly.
Makes sense. But for those who are ready to dive into direct stock investing, where do you even begin?
SG's got this strategy. Pick one sector, any sector, and become the expert.
Instead of trying to know everything about everything.
Too much, yeah.
Yeah.
Go deep on one industry.
So how do you do that?
He actually did this himself. Each year, he'd master a new sector, like when AI was blowing up.
Everyone was talking about it.
He didn't just jump on any AI stock. He took the time to really get it, the tech, the key players, the whole picture.
So it's like knowledge is power.
Big time. And through that deep dive, he realized all this AI needs serious computing power.
Which means?
Demand for high-performance chips. He saw that coming.
You're leading him to.
Companies like NVIDIA, AMD, their stock exploded as AI took off.
Because he saw the connection.
Those ripple effects.
Okay, but it's not JST about the tech, right? You got to analyze companies, the financials, all that.
Oh, yeah, and he's got a knack for spotting those red flags, those little things that can make or break an investment.
Like what? Give me an example.
He pays a lot of attention to what a company's promoters are doing, the founders.
Okay, so if they're buying back their own stock.
That's usually a good sign. They're putting their money where their mouth is.
Like they have insider info, but it's legal.
Right. They know the company best, so their actions speak volumes. On the flip side, if a promoter starts dumping their shares,
Uh-oh, red flag.
could mean they're not so confident about the future.
So you got to be a detective almost.
A little bit. Looking for clues.
And sometimes those clues come from the most random places, right?
Yeah.
Going back to that whole observing your surroundings thing.
Right, like the data center. But he's done this in other ways, too.
How so?
He noticed this trend. Big cement companies like Adani, Ultratech, they were building tons of new plants.
So ramping up production, but why?
He dug deeper. Turns out they were anticipating a huge EE boom in infrastructure projects, roads, bridges, you name it.
And all that needs cement. They were betting on India's growth.
Trying to get ahead of the demand,
Yeah.
but it was risky.
Yeah, if those projects got delayed.
Too much supply, prices drop, profits take a hit, but they took the risk.
Calculated risk though, right? Based on their analysis.
Exactly. And that's a big lesson from SG. Even with bold moves, he's always got his finger on the pulse of the market, watching for anything that could change the game.
Because information really is key, but keeping up with all of it, it's overwhelming. Are there any tools or resources he recommends?
Tons. And he's really good at finding those little hacks, ways to access good info without spending a fortune.
Okay, yeah, sign me up for that. What's he using?
So for his global news, he's all over Bloomberg.
Bloomberg, that's not exactly free though.
It is, but he found this workaround. The Canadian version of their website.
Wait, it's in Canadian?
No, but because of their rules up there, they offer a lot of the same stuff for free.
No way. Sneaky, I like it.
Got to be resourceful.
All right.
And for analyzing company financials, he loves this website, Screener.
Screener, I'll have to check it out.
It's got great tools, completely free.
It's like finding those hidden gems. Love it. And you mentioned earlier SG's big on community, learning from others.
Oh yeah, he's super active on investing forums, Value Picker especially.
What's that, like a Reddit for finance people?
Kind of. It's a place to share ideas, get different perspectives.
Because you can get stuck in your own head, right? Thinking one way.
Totally. Hearing how other investors are interpreting things, it's invaluable.
Especially now, market's moving so fast.
Exactly. And that actually reminds me, we got to talk about the elephant in the room.
Oh, what's that?
The market's been on a tear lately, right?
Oh.
Everyone's feeling good.
Oh, market. Yeah, it's been a while.
And SG, even though he's optimistic overall,
Yeah.
he's cautious too.
What do you mean?
He doesn't think this lasts forever.
Okay.
This bull market, it's got an expiration date.
Okay, now you're making me nervous.
He hasn't said exactly when or what'll trigger it,
Right.
but he's mentioned a possible global slowdown, maybe some big geopolitical event.
So those inevitable sectors, those trends, might not be so inevitable if the whole market takes a dive.
Exactly. It's a good reminder there's always risk. No strategy is foolproof.
Hence why his focus on risk management is so key.
Huge. It's not just about winning, it's about not losing big when you're wrong.
Knowing when to walk away, even if it means a small loss.
Exactly. Have an exit strategy before you even buy.
Keep your emotions in check.
Which, even he'll admit, he's struggled with.
Really? Mr. Core Plus over here.
Oh yeah, he once lost a ton of money in a single day.
Ouch, what happened?
Got caught up in the moment, abandoned his own rules, let his emotions get the best of him. It's a good reminder it happens to the best of us.
We're all human, right?
Totally. But what sets SG apart is he learns from it. Every mistake, he comes back stronger.
So it's that mindset as much as the strategy.
The constant learning, adapting, questioning your own assumptions, that's what allows you to weather the storms and come out ahead.
Man, this deep dive has been incredible. So many practical insights.
SG's journey, it's not about some secret formula. It's about being disciplined, informed, and always learning. That's something anyone can do.
He's shown us smart investing. It's within everyone's reach.
It's asking the right questions, being resourceful, and staying curious.
And knowing that even when things are good, gotta be ready for what's next.
Like SG says, stay vigilant, stay informed, and don't be afraid to adapt. That's how you thrive in this market.
Great advice. Sadly, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive. Be sure to check out the show notes for all the resources we talked about. And until next time, happy investing.